Recorded November 29th, 11:08 p.m.
Are you on Brody's time?
I am a little bit in front of Brody. I'm more in front of Brody than I'm in front of you guys. So it's 11:09 where I am. How are you guys?
Not bad. That's way past your bedtime, Edward.
Yeah. But is it today or yesterday? I get it confused.
I'm still in today, but about the time that we finish this podcast, I will be in tomorrow, and you will still be in yesterday.
Huh. And Andrew's hair
man.
will be 1 inch longer.
Yep. And temporal physics, temporal mechanics is the mother, right? There you go. I'm in the future. The future. Why are you scratching your back and enjoying it, Brody, with that nasty back scratcher? Have you sanitized?
I don't think that's an enjoyment face, really.
It's so dry here.
Yeah.
It's so dry.
I'm in the desert. What do you think is dry?
Yeah, well, where's your back scratcher, bro?
I didn't bring it. It wouldn't pass customs.
Yeah.
That's your wife. Your wife's supposed to scratch your back.
Yeah, that wasn't in the contract.
I visited family, and my father-in-law gave me these gigantic knives, and so I had to check my bag on the way back because that would not have been a good thing on the plane. But
Andrew will tell you she's visited my home. I am a lover of weapons. All times. So anyway, it's good to see you guys. The gang is all here. It's time to come back, put our differences aside and go ahead and go on tour together. I'm all about that. We got our lead singer back, Andrew is back, a front woman, and we're going to get back and get to it. So, Andrew, how are you?
I'm good. I was going to tell you guys that I actually turned on the heat last night because I was so cold, but then I figured our Canadian would make fun of me because it was like 68 degrees or something in here, but it was so cold.
Yeah, it's fine. That's fair. I mean, if you don't have nice, merino wool socks and some slippers, 68 could get a little chilly on the tootsies. You got a carpet in there?
Aren't you really close to the equator?
Well, not as close as I'd like to be. I'd like to live on the equator personally.
I don't know which side I'd get up on.
All the time. Hot.
Yeah.
Anybody on this call ever crossed the equator?
No. Of course.
Write a passage in the Navy when you do it. It's
what happens? Okay, so your toilets spin one way if you're above the equator, and they spin the other way if you're below the equator. But what if you're perfectly on the equator?
It doesn't.
Then the water flushes straight down.
It just sits there right on top.
No, it doesn't. It goes straight down. So other than you freezing your tootsies off, Andrew, anything else?
No, nothing exciting. Rod knows I was working on some monster trying to create a custom table using a DCR and log analytics. And I promise you, I've worked on it for about 18 hours. And I think I finally got it working, but what a pain in the butt. That's definitely something I'm going to blog about, Rod, because it was mostly research and figuring out why something wasn't working that wasn't documented or documented well.
I would have called Shadir right out the bat, or maybe Matt Lowe. Yo, what's going on? Because correct me if I'm wrong, there are two DCR table types, right? It's the one that's Sentinel based and it's one that's just Azure based. Yeah, so the Azure, that's Azure based. Yeah, Sentinel based. It's the Sentinel one that was giving you issues, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really didn't matter. It was just getting the DCR created in the table, but it was. I won't bore everybody with it here, but
what's the DCR? Bro, is about to ask the same question. We pull in Andrea. What's a DCR?
What does it even stand for?
Don't know.
What does it stand for, Rod?
Collection.
Data collection rule.
Okay.
So, traditionally with Sentinel, when you're ingesting data, you just, and when it comes to security events and things like that, you either ingest none, minimum, common, or all. But with the introduction of the AMA agent, which the Azure Monitor agent, now you can say, I only want Event ID 2001, Event ID 2005, and Event ID 20, right? So that you can save space on what you're ingesting and only ingest what you need. So DCR is what lets you pick and choose what you need. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a person is really good at that. It's two people that's been on the show. Big shout out to Nathan Swift. Well, actually, it's more than two people. Shadira, of course, who's the program managers, who taught me everything about that. It's more than 4 people at it. Innocent's pretty good at it too. Innocent's bringing it.
If you hadn't been on vacation, perhaps you could have told me all those people.
Yeah, I apologize for having work-life balance. I won't ever do that again. I promise you.
That's not a thing, really. I don't know. You're
it really is. I'm sitting on a podcast and checking emails and stuff because for some reason I'm still fighting the time zone difference. But anyway, we'll get back to that. Brody, what about you? Other than scratching your hide?
Well, I am a dynamic professional, and so when there's something that needs to be done on a project that nobody else has done before, Brody steps in. And so I am now learning Azure Backup. Ooh. We've got some critical infrastructure that needs to be backed up, critical infrastructure, and tier 0 infrastructure. And it's time for Azure Backup to step in. And so I'm learning how to do that. Pretty straightforward so far. I used to do that kind of stuff in previous roles. So it was a nice crash course to see how that all works. And we're basically making sure that if and when there is an event at said customer, that we have the means to restore things like domain controllers, PKI servers, the Entra Connect servers, and what was the other one? The SQL databases that handle the Entra Connect servers, although those are kind of less important in the end because they just get rebuilt anyway. I digress. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And then I'm also looking at how we can ensure that tier 0 assets like the ones I just mentioned are properly patched within 72 hours of the Microsoft Fun Tuesday patch cycle. So it's kind of some easier stuff that I've been tasked with, but when I came back, I've had some time away, and when I came back, like these were some areas that nobody had touched yet, so I'm just diving in and doing that, and so it's nice. So yeah, go ahead.
I'm about to show myself and Andrea and Rod's age. Backups was always a thing before the cloud, but it seems like you're backing up on premise. Are you backing up because of data integrity and data non-repudiation? Because you said SQL Server, first thing that comes to me, if it's on premise, it's cluster. And you were saying domain controllers should have more than one. All you'd have to do if the primary went down, if that's still a thing, is seize the FSMO roles and do over. And then you had one more thing. So why, file servers, you never mentioned file servers.
No, because it's so you bring up a good point. So yes, we're just going to be targeting one of the domain controllers. So we have the FSMO roles, and so we can restore in the event of a massive ransomware attack, right? And the SQL servers are specifically there. I mean, they're going to get rebuilt anyway. So in an event, they would just get rebuilt, but we'd still pull the catalog over and then just rebuild the DCs. The SQL servers that I was referring to are specifically to handle the databases for Entra Connect, but we're not actually going to back those up because it's kind of pointless. So if we rebuild Entra Connect after an incident, then that's pretty straightforward, other than the configuration. And after that, the database servers that house the data from Entra Connect are just standalone HA pair servers. We don't really need to back those up because at the time where you would rebuild Entra Connect anyway, it would just populate that data. And it's pulling from your local directory anyway. It's pulling from Active Directory. So that's your source of truth, right? It's Active Directory. So we're just getting very specific with, okay, if stuff really hit the fan, what would we need to have restored and when? And it's a small subsection of what we consider tier 0 assets at Microsoft. The PKI one's interesting. Don't do a lot of work with certificate store, and so the guidance is to back up the entirety of the bare metal virtual machines for PKI infrastructure, as well as a backup of the Active Directory certificate services backups, and have those ready. And all of these VMs are on Azure now. They did have a hybrid on-prem Azure infrastructure before an event, and then now these types of assets, these tiers of assets, are going to live solely within Azure, and that actually makes it easier with Azure Backup. So it's pretty straightforward. But you can use Azure Backup to target on-prem like ESXi or Hyper-V, or name your visor pretty easily. So it's not a big deal. And if you have a requirement where you need to store some of that backup data in a local data center in addition to Microsoft's cloud, then you can set up Azure Backup servers, I believe, and just plug in some storage, and then you can replicate the backups to not only that local storage but also the cloud. So it's kind of cool. It's just nice learning that. It's just something new I didn't think I'd have to touch in a while.
And you're documenting all of this, correct?
Yes, I am documenting all of this. Yes.
This sounds like what I read, and sort of said that on-premise is becoming the DR site, and cloud is primary. So when your cloud provider bites the dust, you fell back home. And he said it was looking very serious to see. It was looking very tired. I'm fighting multiple time zones here. For those that don't know, I'll get to it in a second. Why I'm looking all serious, and my eyes are tired. So I got my blue. What are these blue lenses? Blue blockers. Yeah, I should have turned up blue. Rod Trent, what's going on, Head Hog?
Other than fighting a cold, I almost didn't make the show this evening. Today it was kind of rough. I'm actually starting to feel a little better for whatever reason. After Thanksgiving last week, our grandboy spent the night with us and slept in our bed.
There you go.
My wife. And he faced me the entire time and literally coughed all night right in my face. I'd wake up and he's just like coughing. So I thought I had dodged it, but no, today I woke up and I feel like I'm underwater. Speaking of Brody, this is probably before you were born, but Y2K, year 2000. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I've got a great Y2K story. Finish your sentence.
Yeah. I'm talking about the DR. I remember a year before Y2K happened, I was working for one of the large accounting companies, and we planned our disaster recovery. We actually had an entire data center across town. In the event ours went down, we would be able to power that thing back up. Pretty interesting, but yeah. So yeah, I've got a cold.
That's cool.
I did want to mention a couple things before we move on, and then we'll talk about some other topics later. December 20th is our holiday episode this year. Apparently Brody's not going to be here, but fortunately, the other Brody is going to be here. Henrik has already accepted the invite, so Henrik will be here with us. We'll still miss Brody, but Henrik is not the best substitute, but he's still great. Also, from our website, our Substack today, I wanted to kind of show everybody this. Something kind of new here. Let's go ahead and pop this up. All right, so this is our normal Substack site. This is all of our cool little podcasts. But now, to showcase all of Andrea's awesome blogs, we now have a blog section. Ooh. So this next year, hopefully, we'll be getting a little bit deeper into providing some additional content on the site. So not just the podcast, but also some content as well. So just want to
Andrea is shaming us into writing by
she's got some great stuff out there.
I mean me and Brody. You right?
Andrea's got the time. She's crushing it. I'm so happy Andrea's informing everybody.
I tell you what, between December and February, she's gonna put out like a blog every day because it's cold out. She's not going out.
Maybe we should challenge her. One blog a day. Yeah.
One blog a day. But here's something else. So you can get a cold and you're cold, but if you get why do they name a fever? And what corresponds with a fever when you're hot? So you have a cold and you're cold, but you get a fever.
Sounds like a problem for Bing Chat.
This is like Greenland being icy and Iceland being green.
Right.
There you go. I met some Greenlands.
I think it was just hope. We want our place to be green, and the other people wanted it to BIs. So
Yeah, it was like a sales pitch. Come buy land in Greenland. We have tons of land.
I'm sure they sound just like that.
Yeah, that's the Greenlandish accent, obviously.
Yeah.
Edward.
Perfect.
Anyway, hello, Hendrik. If you're listening, him and I've been chatting it up. He's like, you responded so quickly. He's like, oh, you're in my time zone. So for all of our listeners, I am in Morocco. Been here a week. Got about 4 or 5 more days to go. So started off in Marrakesh. Awesome. Super busy. Looks like an Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom background. Probably filmed something over here at the time. Shopped, bought a bunch of stuff. Left from Marrakesh and went to Adafay. Rode camels. I think I sent you guys pictures. Had 2 camels, Joe and Charlie. They were cool. No big. Got autographs. Left from Adafay and / Marrakesh and went to where did we go next? We went to Rabat, which is the capital of Morocco. And then that was great. Very modern. Marrakesh is very traditional, old country, old school, throwback to, the very little industrialization. Very little. Except for mopeds. You dodging mopeds like you're playing Frogger. It almost took me out a few times. The only place that was worse was Vietnam. And then we left from Rabat and we went to Fez, which is another imperial city. That was yesterday. Don't know what to make of it. Fez is all about being Fez. They don't want to adopt any culture at all. It's very little English. If those that speak English could, they didn't want to. They spoke French. And we stayed a few days there. And then now we are in, where are we right now? We're in Tangier. And cool. I will be traveling to the Blue City in Shashwan tomorrow. And then we're going to go to the Rock of Gibraltar. We're going to go to the Caves of Hercules. And if you go to the Rock of Gibraltar, you can look over into Spain. I think that's where you can look over to Spain. And then there's a spot where the Atlantic and the Pacific meet. One of the few places in the world. I think there's only 2 of them where the oceans actually meet. And then after that, we're going to close it out. We're going to head to Casablanca.
Ooh. Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I'm going to get my best Humphrey Bogart on. Right, we'll go there.
Of all the places and all the towns and all, however it goes. I don't know.
There you go. So then come back home to the salt mines, the uranium salt mines, and work for our AI overlords. We'll see how that goes.
Did you know that Sex and the City 2, the movie, was filmed in Morocco?
I did.
Wait, about, he and Miriam did the Sex and the City 2 tour. I have no doubt.
Yeah, well, if she did, I wasn't part of it.
I did the Brady Bunch tour in the Grand Canyon.
I've never been to
I did the Game of Thrones tour in Malta.
Really?
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Did you have to marry your brother?
Did the tour of Highlander. You were in Scotland at the Castle of the Clan MacLeod, right?
I was right near there.
You were right near there. So enough about our exploits outside of work. Let's talk about what we've been doing to toll for the man. What you got, Brody?
Well, other than what I was just dropping, liquid hot Azure backup fire. What else am I doing here? That's the big one. That's actually the big one. I was working on the plane last night to make sure I was ready to rock.
Oh, you were traveling?
Yeah, a little bit. And then so Azure backup, and what was the other one I talked about? Yeah, patching, blah, blah, blah. I was reading this book about agile security operations, and I love the points that it was making, and I'm going to use them with a customer about, how do we show the value that we've brought in terms of consulting with a different customer. And I love how the book calls out around, you can't boil the ocean and solve for everything in security, but if you start looking at the specific threat actors through threat intelligence platforms like Microsoft's and others, and you find your target sector So whatever that may be, let's just say it's financial services for fun. You find out who the threat actors are, the target financial services, and then what their typical TTPs, tactics, what is it? Threats, tactics, and procedures. Shucks, I don't have that. Tactics, something else, and procedures.
Yeah.
And that's what you craft your security program against, is how to defend against those particular TTPs. And then how you measure your actual operations is not only learning and trying to align to those TTPs, but also learning from each and every incident, and then cyclically going back through the cycle and seeing how you can do it better the next time. And it was a nice book because it kind of took me away from product land to more conceptual security operations and modern security, and just realizing that you're going to be behind the 8 ball if you try to do everything, and you need to pick. You need to pick and choose, and it needs to make sense for you and your sector, whether it be education or energy or whatever. So that's another thing I'm going to be working on with the different customers, trying to have these conversations. And saw one of them actually at a security conference, and they were listening to a podcast. It's the same thing, Agile Security Operations. I swear the podcast is based on the book that I'm reading. I'll find the book. I'll put it in the chat. And basically, I'm just looking forward to sitting down and just seeing hey, well, how do you when you're going through these exercises, right? Let's see what the process is and how we can improve it from a people and process standpoint. And if we can implement some cool stuff in Sentinel or Microsoft XDR to make things easier, or to bring more visibility on these things, or to run automation, then all the better. So that's another thing I'm working on.
Well, that brings up a great point, Brody. I think our friend Mr. Trent wanted to maybe talk about Defender XDR today.
But before Rod goes, Andrea's light is driving my ADD crazy.
I think that is a poltergeist
air freshener
detector
or something in her wall over there, just flashing on periodically. It's absolutely making me look over
my
there.
Wi-Fi access point, so I can't unplug it. But
I thought it was like a ghost detector. Like those ghost shows. That's
No, you can leave it alone.
That's all I can do for you.
Gonna burn the house down.
Not a sock. It's my
sock. So what's this Rod? What's this XDR stuff?
What is XDR?
What is X-Frost? Skateboarding?
Yeah, I think it's like I don't know, some kind of dirty acronym. I don't know. XDR, Defender XDR. We talked about this last week a little bit, I think, when we had our Ignite Part 2. And then we talked about it the week before a little bit, but Microsoft 365 Defender no longer sort of exists, or will not. So it's actually called Defender XDR at this point. And I don't know how many people knew this, but let me share my screen. There was some things going on, some discussions around this week. So if you actually go into Content Hub, Sentinel team announced this week that the new solution would be available. So there's that new Microsoft Defender XDR, which it actually used to be Microsoft Defender. Remember a year and a half ago when we changed everything to Defender instead of every Defender thing having their own connector? We changed it to Defender. Well, now we changed that to Defender XDR because that's literally the new rebranding for the Defender console, which eventually will be that combined Sentinel Defender integrated console at defender.microsoft.com.
So Rod, if I already had the 365 Defender data connector connected in Sentinel, do I need to go do this?
Once you upgrade this, it will replace that. And in fact, if you go to the data connector now, after I did that upgrade, after it was available and I did the installation, Defender 365 is not in here. It replaces it with Defender XDR. Right? So even if I go in here real quick and open the connector page, it looks very similar, right? That's that Defender 365 connector. It's just the name has changed and there's some other things on the back end that have changed a little bit about the data ingestion and some of the tables and stuff like that. But it's the same thing.
it automatically deprecated the one that was already in there. I have not been in my environment. Maybe I'll go look at it. So it deprecates it and just change the name, and you don't have to go deactivate the old connector and deploy the solution.
Right. Now, you also notice that there's still things like Defender for Cloud Apps, Defender for Endpoint, just exactly as it was before. That Defender XDR still relies on these connectors being enabled. And
really?
That'll probably change here in the near future. Yeah, absolutely. So if you go in, for example, Defender for Endpoint, let it refresh here real quick, you'll see that you can't connect it with Defender XDR connected, right? So,
well, someone asked me about that out of band, and they asked me that the very question. They said, well, why, if we have the composite, do we need the individuals?
There's still some stuff that's required from a code base that requires. Now, if you go into the Defender XDR and you select things in there, those are the extra logs. These things are pulling in the standard free stuff.
Yeah, so I came in, because you have the granular checkboxes. I gave them a little bit of process answer. I said it may be because suppose you don't have all of the solutions deployed, and you turn on the Defender Composite or the GSALT, which is combined, and all of a sudden you're getting all of the other data without you having really control on what you have to come in. Meaning, you turn it on, but you haven't had Defender for Cloud Apps deploy, and then you deploy Defender for Cloud Apps, and all of a sudden you start getting those alerts, but you really didn't want them in, but you turn on the XDR connector. So maybe I'm wrong on the granularity, thing. I'm giving engineering too much credit, but I got to go play with it.
It's a process. Eventually, yeah, absolutely. There'll just be one connector, one solution for everything. So,
but it says, the one below it is the Defender for Cloud.
That's the old legacy. You'll see this actually has a legacy on it now. It's called subscription. I can't expand it. Let's just click on it.
Yeah.
This is now legacy.
Yeah.
There's a different Defender for Cloud connection now. So,
and it's all about billing. Yeah. I got to get back into my Sentinel lab and do some cleanup and a few other things. I really haven't. As Brody said, I'm a salesperson now. I really haven't had time to get into it like I used to. But that's cool. It's I guess it's unifying that portal. I'm still not going to say single pane of glass. It doesn't exist. But it's fewer planes, and you're staying church glass, right?
Yep.
There you go. But on that note, seems like Defender for Cloud Apps is the de facto winner in the portal death match. Everything's eventually going to come into that, right? As far as alerts.
Yeah, it seems like it.
So I put something out there, and Hendrik said, "Hey Ed, where's the blog that you put out that said that Defender for Cloud Apps was going to be a SASE solution more than anything else?" I cannot find that. And there was an article that says that was the transition of Defender for Cloud Apps, that it was going to become more of a SASE reporting and enforcement policy, maybe to work with our edge solutions. Cannot find that blog. I thought I saved it. And he's right. I saw that. So that's what it was evolving to sort of combine what Zscaler and Netscope was doing. So I got to go find it. I sent him some links to it. So Hendrik, I'll keep looking for it if it goes from there. Other than that, I'm not really working on anything. I'm on vacation, a holiday, as you say to our Europeans. So I'm reading all my code magazines. Hey, catching up. Good reading.
Magazines. Did you bring those on the plane?
So Edward, my buddy Jessica was just in Egypt, and she said alcohol was very difficult to find. Have you found that in Morocco?
Absolutely. You have to check the site, call ahead to say if they serve alcohol, because everybody will say cafe and say they have cocktails. They won't tell you that there's no alcohol in it. So if you're in a hotel, yes, but if you're out on the town, no. I'll tell you something else I'm not used to. I keep forgetting that smoking is very popular in certain European
that's
places.
true.
I was in a place to smoke. I had to get out of there. My carburetor started skipping. My air filter got clogged. I had to get out of there, man. Mirror bailed on me. Yeah, alcohol is not prevalent. You have to go look for it, and that's okay. My liver could use a break. I'm drinking this beer over here, and it's, like this beer is not even strong. It's made out of water. So there you go. This beer is full of water. I can't do anything with this. But
Camel beer. Yeah.
Camel beer.
Still,
those camels, they get wild.
Still putting on weight. The food over here is so rich and heavy. Oh, wow. It is soul food of North Africa. It is very heavy. I've been eating it since I've been the tunji. It's stewed, lamb, stewed chicken, stewed beef, whichever choice you may have, vegetables and everything, and it's just a full pot. And my wife has become a couscous addict, so she's ordering couscous by the buckets, eating that, right? Couscous, and the coffee is good. The coffee is very good. Mint tea. So they pour you the tea. They have a glass and they into it. Oh, it's so good. I drink more tea over here than I have. What else? She said I drink. Oh, I tell you something else. I drink a lot of over here, and I'm breaking that habit as soon as we leave. I drink more soda pop, more Coca-Cola over here. I am not a soda guy. I don't drink pop. I think, Rod, you and I were up in, a night in Seattle. I think you were drinking juice and water. I
can't drink pop. Yeah,
I don't drink pop.
I
don't like pop, and it's that habit will be broken immediately upon getting on a flight.
Andrea's light is breaking through.
I see it now. It's burned through the sock. The sock is burned.
The wall's just on fire all of a sudden. Yeah. No, Andrea, get out!
Yeah. No, that's it. Did I send you guys the latest pictures? I saw you. I sent you the picture about the ATM machine, right?
Yeah, my phone's blowing up, and it's Edward. He goes on vacation. I hear from him more in a week than ever.
Did you guys see the other one? I went into a totally different hotel, totally same situation. So something's beeping. Beep, 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 beep. What's your? So I go out the hotel room. Beep, 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 beep.
Here's the one I like the best.
Oh, with the cat.
The cat.
Oh, that's the Fender.
Yeah,
that's the Fender. The Cybercat.
That's the XDR.
So I go through, and I'm going through this fort that looks down on the Medina, and Medinas in Morocco are just huge markets that are sometimes enclosing communities, covers on top. And so that cat, I'm sitting by the wall getting ready, and this cat just walks up, taps me on the shoulder, and just sits there and photobombs me. And the cat goes, yeah. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I'm all about the Center for Cat apps. And then my wife has a video of about 4 kittens running around. So I named them MDI, MDO, MDA, MDA, MDI. So these little kittens were running around, cats all over the place.
M-cats.
Just cats all over the place. And so yeah. I'm having a good time. It's my first time in Northern Africa. I spend most of my time in South Africa, either southeast. Yeah, not really much in the west. So it's a good time over. The weather is phenomenal. Chilly in the morning, 67 winds blowing in Tangier. I'm on the ocean. Can't really see it behind me. I'm in the square, but the ocean's right there. We're on a marina. We decided not to take a train between cities. We had a driver to just drive us through so we can go through some of the towns. I think sometimes we're just oblivious to how big the world is. Just to watch the desert, and the farm is just huge as far as you can see. and to see the people out there working and farming, goats, chickens, donkeys.
I did not mean to turn this into Edward's travel blog.
Oh yeah. Well,
I thought we should maybe get back to some security here.
Oh yeah. Back to security. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
And now the light's burning through the sock. Hey, did you guys notice that? Now the light won't go out. It's just burning on her sock.
The people
Apparently it
have
finally
no
connected.
idea listening will have no idea what you're talking about.
Apparently, whatever it was really interested in Edward's story. So.
Oh, the dog.
Yeah.
It's an alien life form.
Do it. Oh, from the thing.
So go back to your story about the ATM. That's security related.
That is security. Yes. Before.
So I asked I needed some Dura, whatever the currency is, and I said, well, there's an ATM in the hotel because I heard that if you're going to get any currency, get it in the hotel that's safe. The ATMs are not tampered. So he points me to it, and I go to the ATM, and I look at it, and immediately I'm go, nah. So the back of the ATM doesn't have a Ethernet interface into a network of sorts. It was plugged directly into a wireless access point, broadcasting on the SSID to go out. And I'm like, where's the backhaul? Right? If you have a wireless access point, you still have to have backhaul. Or if you have the access point and there's no backhaul to a network, then you're forming a bridge somewhere to be able to do it. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not using this thing. I mean, I sent you guys pictures. The access point was sitting on top of the ATM terminal, right? And the wires were exposed, going right into it, and you see the antenna that was broadcasting out. So there you go. He's showing it.
There you go. So basically, Edward refrained from hacking his hotels. Good job, Edward.
And he broke the Wi-Fi by putting a tissue over it.
There you go.
That signal.
Because once you make the light go out, it doesn't work anymore.
Andrew's so happy she joined the show today.
Then I said, and that was at one hotel carrier. So I come to another hotel in a different city, and I'm hearing the beep, 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 and I'm thinking, all right, it's something. And I go through the doors outside of here, and the data center is wide open. I'll send you guys a picture. Data center's wide open. And what was beeping was the what's the battery thing they call these days?
Battery thing.
UPS. It was a UPS that was beeping. Everything plugged onto it. That's the UPS that's keeping me up with my whole damn name on the text messages, so you can see.
This was actually in your room, right?
No, yeah, that was next to my room. The data center was wide open.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, about that. So, but no, just the simple things. You encounter this at multi-million-dollar industries that we spend our money and we do all this other stuff. Security is not prevalent across the world.
Oh, it's not. Think about how much effort that we, as in our daily jobs, spend on trying to construct stories for our customers to get them to kind of engage and understand the essence of security. And then you go somewhere like this and you're like, oh my goodness.
I mean, it's just, short of breaking your identity, physical access is a number 2 thing that you should not give away. I don't care if you have NAC, network access control. I don't care if you have VLANs or whatever else. I can reboot your switch, throw it into debug mode, get enable, and start going through it, pull the equivalent of root password, reboot it, put it back in, secure shell to it, or directly interface, to it, and start issuing commands, change routing to mirror the port, start capturing the traffic. Yes.
Big effort.
Right. And those steps are automated inside something like Kali, Linux, right?
Yeah.
So you don't even have to know what you're doing. You just push a button.
Push a button, baby. Push a button.
Perfect for you.
That's just what I'm saying, person. But I would never do that.
Of course not. Of course not.
Andrew would, but I wouldn't.
No, I know Andrew would. You know, Edward, while you were gone, we were like rolling through the book of news from Ignite.
Yeah, we did that.
Didn't have a defender for Edward's curiosity, but you know, I'm sure that's coming soon.
Nah, it's not worth the. I pulled the door up and shook it to make sure it was locked. Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm staying here. My information is on that network. Pull the door up. Right. And not even go downstairs and tell the people they will be cool. It's like, what? But we're all good.
Yeah, it's a little scary. And plus, you're taking your mobile device with you, and it auto connects to those networks over there, right? So you have no clue what's. Yeah.
Absolutely not. I know people connect to the auto net. You know, I did wireless for
not the Wi-Fi stuff, but their cell service. Or do you buy a phone when you get in country?
I bought a SIM when I got here.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, as soon as I got here, I got a SIM. Right. That's you're texting me. You're seeing my text because I brought a phone over here, bought a SIM, turned it into a hotspot, and used my 2 regular phones to talk through that to get out.
Actually, this works better than normal, so you might want to keep that.
Yeah, and it's cheap.
I'm just kidding.
I have no idea why our cell service in the States costs so much.
Yeah.
So cheap over here, right? So well, that's the big thing. But anyway, Andrew's like, countdown to Christmas.
Christmas is coming.
And so is winter, but you don't see me advertising that either, right? There is no Christmas thing over here.
Send the snow. We don't have enough snow.
Snow for what?
You don't have snow yet?
Brody wants to go hella skiing.
Yeah.
Hella skiing, right?
Yeah. I'm buying it.
Oh, hella skiing. Not
Yeah,
hella skiing like a lot of skiing. You mean hella skiing like jumping out of a helicopter.
Yeah.
He's gonna do both.
Yeah, I'm gonna hella ski via heli skiing.
We need pictures of that this year, by the way. I want to see
we
that.
do.
Oh yeah.
I don't believe you did it.
Do you have like a GoPro that you could strap on?
Yeah, you know, that's not as fun as you think it is because like you need video stabilization. So that's the problem because like, I'll attach it to my chest and I'll look super sick. And you go, no, I was like, So if I had like a new GoPro, I could probably do it. I'll see if I can borrow one from the guides. I used to work there.
It's a thing because the professional skiers have it and they look crystal clear.
Yes, Red Bull does a lot of post video processing, and you can buy things that do that because you have to make sure that you've got the either equipment on you for image stabilization, or you do post processing image stabilization. At least when the first time we started recording with the GoPros, like GoPro 1, 2, and 3, it wasn't great. So if they've got like the GoPro like 97 now. And it's sweet. I give it a shot. I'm not gonna go buy it. Probably it's probably like $1,000. But I want to get a really good picture this year of the helicopter when they come in to pick you up. And you're like, a friend of mine got this picture like a year ago or years ago, and like you got the camera right here, and the helicopter's coming in, and your face is there. Wow. That's the picture I want to get. That's gonna be a fun one.
I got a couple of GoPros I hardly use. Shout out to Matt Egan, convinced me to spend my money on stuff I'll never use. He's a big GoPro person. He takes great pictures and stuff. He had me buy a couple of them. Things are sitting downstairs in my basement. Yeah, I'll sell one and donate one to charity or something. Somebody.
All right, yeah. I'll take some pictures though, gentlemen and lady. Absolutely. But the helicopter does land. That's the biggest misconception. The helicopter safely lands.
Then that's not heli skiing.
And then you get out.
Get out in a safe manner.
I thought you had your skis strapped on. You just
you dived out of it.
No, that does not happen normally unless you're on Red Bull. Unless you're Travis Price.
could do that. I could do that.
Yeah, I can do that. You're gonna put me down.
Yeah, and then you put your skis and snowboard on, and then the helicopter.
I don't need a picture. I don't need a picture now.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's like Mission Impossible. Like you diving out of it, your skis, shoot out from your feet. You land on the ground and you start skiing.
I'd like to see either of you try that anyway. Heli skiing. I'd like to see that meter deep snow. You have no idea.
Double O Brody.
Yeah, exactly.
Noodle said, "I'm massively less impressed now."
Yeah, I
feel
know.
you, Noodle.
Yeah, we've exposed him. We've exposed him this week. So
out of helicopter.
Exposed his story.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll be fun. So I'm sorry I'm missing the Halloween, the Christmas special, but this has been booked for a while. So in the rare event that they don't have enough snow to run the week, I'll be here. And then
I'm going to ask that Henrik actually wear a snowsuit when he comes on.
I'm sure he has one.
Did we say for the people who were expecting our guests, did we tell them that we weren't having guests?
Oh, there might actually be people here that were expecting those specific people. Yeah. Well, we had guests lined up for tonight to talk about Edward's favorite topic, but there was kind of miscommunication. They'll be here December 6th. That's next week, right? Next week.
Yeah.
So we just rescheduled.
Topic. One thing I've been working on, I guess we need to have an internal meeting about it. I've already started working on the guests for March for Women in Cyber Month.
Oh,
I've actually had 2 individuals reach out to me in advance. Say, hey, I want to come on the show.
Perfect.
So I guess when we have an internal meeting, we'll plan that and make sure it's copacetic with everybody. And at this rate, we won't have enough weeks in the month for the guests that want to come on. So we may have to do 2 shows a week, maybe.
That's going to be a big month. I mean, like, we had such a rock star cast last March. I mean, how do we top that?
You know what? We should have Andrea Fisher on the show.
I hear she's
pretty good. I heard she's really good with DCRs.
And I hear her Wi-Fi is steady on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has an ATM hooked up to it.
There's ATM. I'm getting all the cash. Get all the cash.
Yeah, we'll have lots of folks on. We'll I have some ideas. We'll definitely have to noodle all of that.
Noodle. I
Rod, when does the new Defender console come out anyway?
It's in private preview right now. The Defender, the UX, combined UX. Let's just say next calendar year. How about that?
Okay. I was going to see if I can hold you to committing to a date, which is always a fun thing to do. But yeah, because I'm keen.
Never do it.
Can't wait. I know. You're a smart man. We'll get there one day.
You sure that unified portal is not present in some tenants already?
Nah, only for the private preview folks.
Okay.
Like I never signed mine up for the program, but I'll check.
Mine is. Big shout out to Christina Quick for
probably because you're over there.
What was the other question I was going to ask?
Oh, I do have something. Quick ad. There was a question earlier, and I'll throw this out there real quick. There is coming a Microsoft Pressbook official for KQL, by the way, that myself and Matt Zorich, who's been a guest of the show, and also my buddy Mark, who's from the Identity team. We're all we've all written a book. It'll be out in April. Nice. Definitive Guide to KQL. This thing, it's not going to be a one-day sit and read. It's going to be pretty thick. My 2 chapters that I finished right now alone, I think, are probably like 250 pages by themselves. So,
hence the word definitive.
Yep. And then
nice job,
Must Learn AI Security is now a book, by the way. So
a raw trip. How about we buy a bunch of these, man, and give them out?
I'm going to Houston in about 2 weeks, and I'm going to buy a bunch of these and hand them out as swag.
I'll meet you there in 2 weeks.
All right.
Send me the details.
You two are like old chums now that you met in person.
I know. I mean, some of us will spend the money to come see each other. Some of us will not.
Yeah. I miss him now. I mean,
Yeah. I miss that long hug, man. I mean, it's wearing off. I can't really feel him squeezing me anymore.
I don't smell him anymore. I had to wash my clothes.
Right? Andrew doesn't love me anymore. We used to travel and do all the great seminars together. People would ask for us. We were in demand. I feel like Daryl Hall and John Oates now. She has a restraining order against me. Did you guys see that? They don't get along anymore. Daryl Hall and John Oates. That's crazy.
I can definitely see Andrew having a restraining order against you. However, yeah.
Restrained. So I thought a restraining order, they would come to your house and restrain you, but evidently they don't. So we figured that out, right? On a note, I listened to the show last week. It was so fun. I actually listened to the entirety of the show because
thank you for your support.
Yeah, I don't ever listen to the show. But I listened to it, and one of the things that resonated was something that Andrea said, that when you're doing, endpoint or machine isolation, do not isolate your domain controllers. That never really resonated in my head. Like, yeah, that's a bad thing, right? Because generally, if they're attacking one, they're probably attacking your directory structures, your others. So now what if you isolate all your domain controllers, right? There is no authentication fabric left, right? So I'm like, that's nowhere in the MDI or MDE documentation. So I will say, oh, let me go. That's as much as I do with MDI, you would think that there would be some exclusion for that based on the endpoint type.
There should be. Well, that would be interesting, actually.
I saw exclusions in MDI for alerts when you're doing honey tokens and stuff and certain attacks and alerts. But in MDE, there is no automatic way to exclude server types, or not server type, role types.
So what you would do is create a new device group that had your domain controllers in it and set that to either no automation or semi-automation.
Smart. That's why they hear the big bucks. Smartest person on the show right there, Andrew Fisher.
I'm telling you, if MDI and MDA are talking, that is a high probability. If someone gains foothold into one of your domain controllers, MDE goes, I'm locking you down. And your help desk is going to get a lot of calls.
That's the end of it.
Yeah. Well,
good times. Hey, so Rod, who are our guests for next week?
Oh yeah, let me keep talking.
On the spot, but
I'll pull them up.
Yeah.
We got
Edward knows them. I just Edward introduces me to everybody.
Brian Hooper, I've known of him for a while. Big, security research guy, incident response.
Phoebe Rogers.
TFR. And someone on his team is Phoebe Rogers. She is a incident responder, security researcher on part of the Defender Experts. She's part of the Defender Expert team, but not necessarily a Defender Expert within that program. I've learned since being on that team, it's like 4 different individual entities that work to make it all work, right? So you got, the research scientist. I think that's Lefferts. I forget the gentleman's name, not Lefferts, but the last name sounds similar. Brian Hooper's side, my side, and one more. And they all work together by exchanging information and how Defender Experts really work. And so while I was in Ignite and Offsite, Brian actually said, hey, man, I'd like to show. We'd like to come on, and myself and Phoebe, and talk about what life was like being a Defender Experts for hunting and Defender Experts for XDR incident response person or investigator. Yeah. So I said, absolutely. I think Andrea knows him better than I do, right?
I mean, we used to, back in my GBB days, I certainly talked to him a lot. So, but I haven't talked to him in a while, so I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, I mean, when you were saying that, I can see when you were saying that, he's very serious and not a man of many words, but he was super talkative and friendly. Him and I were talking up in Redmond. He has a good sense of humor too. So I'm excited to have him on because he actually reached out and said, hey, I want to come on. I want to talk about this. Oddly enough, big shout out to Rod with the post about the podcast. I reposted some of it, made a few changes to some of the wording. One of them put them out, but Steve Lee, part of the CXE for Defender Experts, is one of the top 5 shows for the year.
Yep.
And Minecraft and Sammy Yusuf with his infographics, and Mr. McNeil, who came on and talked about cyber security insurance from Molded, and I'm missing one person.
So I will tell you, Steve hasn't responded yet, but Maria, Angelica Faber, John O'Neill, and Sammy, they have all accepted to come on the holiday episode.
Great.
Still waiting for Steve though. Yeah.
I'll ping Steve. I have a call with him next week, and then I'll see if he'll get on. More than likely he will. And then we need to reach out to the heavy hitters from March and see if Maria still is willing to come back on for the dance contest, right?
I may still reach out to her for the holiday episode since, I was with her at Ignite and we're working on some other things together, which we'll talk about here in the near future.
Yeah. She, who was once an employee at Microsoft, who was a program feature manager for notebooks, I got to chitty chat with her at Ignite. She asked to come back on the show. Mona from Blue Voyant. We were in a conference. Mona wants to come back on. She's like, you guys don't call, you don't write. When can I come back on? She wants to come back on the show. So I think we just got to sit down and do some internal scheduling for 2024. And then I think you said that I think Vasu said that, was it Vasu or was it Maria that said that a lot of partners want to come on?
That was Maria, yeah.
So April is our partner month, right?
The precursor, yes, to RSA.
Yes. So we need to start figuring that out too. I guess we need to have some internal meetings and make some of these meetings we got planned, right? Get this stuff squared away.
We just need Andrea to tell us what to do.
Yes. She's not putting the hammer down.
Rod asks one, he gives you 5 minutes to answer a question, and if you don't answer it, he just does what he wants to do. Like, how does this sound? Okay, nobody said anything. Good.
Yeah. I have this much time between.
Yeah. You guys gonna learn. See, I've been friends with Andrew long enough. You know, you wait for the answer or you'll be flogged. So that you don't want to be flogged.
I just accept that no answer is yes.
Yeah, well, I would say if it's 24 hours have passed, but if it's 5 minutes, I think we can all agree that
you can see why it drives my wife so nuts. Like, hey, you want to do this? Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I was gonna make a lot of jokes there. Yeah.
That's why we have 4 kids. That's why I have 4 kids. Hey, want another kid? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Me trying to figure out what to do lunch plans with you, man. I'm like, this dude is all over the place, scatterbrained. I can't find him now. Rod's going to dinner with us. Rod's in Redmond. He's supposed to be here, not in Redmond. Right, so do that.
Rod. Smart.
But
right on that note.
Oh,
it's been great.
Somebody wants to go.
Great.
Yeah.
Is it dark?
Her tissue is just about done. She's ready to go.
Yeah, she's ready.
I got to roll too. That was great.
All right.
So we actually have guests next week. It's going to be great. I hope everybody had a great time today. Edward, I hope you're having an awesome vacation. Thanks for all the text messages. Yeah. And we're having the gang back together, all 4 of us.
Just stop by on the way home, Ed. I'll stop by on the way home.
Okay.
All right.
I can do that. I'll see you in Houston in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Just give me the details. I'll come.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll do that. Andrew's coming too.
Better.
I will give me some dates. I need to do one more flight on Delta to up my status. So
December 13th.
Me too. Exactly.
December 13th in Houston at the MTC in Houston. December 13th.
Give me that one more time.
December 13th at the Houston MTC.
We can discuss this offline, my friends. I'm sure our guests are not that excited to hear our.
Well, anyone that is in the area for Houston, this is open invitation. I will be in Houston for HasMug, Houston area. I don't even know what it stands for, but it's a user group there, and I'm talking about AI and security, talking about Shadow AI.
Shadow AI, and I'm all about Shadow IT. Shadow AI is a thing.
It is.
It's a thing. I think we'll close the show out with this. I think a lot of people think Shadow AI is not a thing because they see what is publicized as the underlying compute being so massive that you can't run it as a base product workload. But look at the front or the end user manifest where people are using AI unauthorized.
Yeah,
that's the shadow piece. If you're using AI in your workplace, there are no guidelines, then that's shadow AI.
Because you've not read Rod's blog, which said that exact same thing today.
I know, which I'm regurgitating it, Andrea. Yeah, give me credit. But hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for you guys having me on the show. I'm burned. Let me get some sleep. I got a 8-hour trip in somewhere in the Blue City tomorrow. I'll bring you guys some souvenirs back. Have fun.
All right. Peace.
Love all you guys.
Bye.